All right, guys, welcome in. Lots to talk about tonight. Wow, what a news week. What a news week, and I did something so uncomfortable in preparation for the show that I hope you thank me. First, couple things I want to get out of the way. Sound. I've gotten more emails and comments about sound. Oh, that's nice. Ian sending some over. Good. That would be amazing. I love Ian. Love his show. Was watching it a little bit ago. Hey, if the sound starts to clip, meaning if you start hearing clicking and I start cutting out, let me know. I have turned the gain way up. And the reason I keep it down historically, I used to have to do this on the radio. I'd have to cut the gain back because I'm really loud. I'm really loud. And if I get too loud, it sometimes clips at the top. So I'm not giving you any more. This is all you're getting. All you're getting. So turn your thing up. Real Baron Podcast. I am Baron Coleman. Hit like, hit subscribe. It does help the algorithm. So if you like this show and you want to support this show, you can like and subscribe, click the notifications button, share with your friends. Anything you can do to keep this thing in the YouTube algorithm, the better off we do as a family. So, all right. I want to start this, and it's going to be tough love for some people. And I don't know any other way to do this than just to get into the tough love. And there are going to be some of you that might be irritated a little bit by this, but just hang with me, hang with me, hang with me. I promise you, I'm not going to leave you. There's Adidas. Someone said there's no Adidas. There's Adidas. It's right there. Come on. I am brand loyal. If anything, I am brand loyal. All right. Do you guys remember Donald Trump's trip down the Golden Escalator back in 2015? I do. I watched it live. I was with my former business partner. We were in our downtown office, and we turned on, I think it was on CNBC or something. They were carrying it live, and I was in awe. I was in absolute awe. I was not supporting Donald Trump at the time. I had not then. I have never seen anything like it since. He was a force. He had aura, as the kids call it. Aura. See, even at 45 years old, I can stay up with the slang. He had panache. He had confidence. He looked unbridled. And it did take me, like I said, a couple of months of observation and an unfortunate event with a blender that had been stamped made in China that broke the very first time I tried to use it before I came around to supporting Donald Trump. As soon as my blender broke, I thought, all right, I'm in. I understand everything he's talking about. I'm tired of the cheap crap from China. He had a clear and concise message. It's hard to imagine right now in a time where nearly every Republican candidate in a primary tries to out-Trump the other. But Donald Trump was not the overwhelming favorite to win the primary at that time. It was actually pretty close at times. A lot of states he ended up winning, he would win with 45, 50%, 42% of the vote. And had it not been a 17-way race, there's a chance like a Ted Cruz or a Marco Rubio would have won the primary. And they would have gone on to go full Bob Dole or Mitt Romney in the general election. And in fact, where we sit today, we would have just wrapped up 8 years of Hillary Clinton. And who knows what life would be like for those of us on our side of the aisle. But Trump won. He won both the primary. He won the general election. His message was pure. It was crisp. It was clean. It was concise. And conservatives were captivated. And it even picked up a lot of people in the middle class and lower class who had traditionally voted Democrat. His message was simple. It was America first. No more foreign wars unless America was directly threatened. No more illegal immigration. No more backroom deals. He was going to destroy ISIS in weeks. And he said it would be easy because Barack Obama had founded them. Turns out he was right. Everyone laughed at him. But America first hadn't been tried in decades, maybe centuries, if we're being honest. It's not that people didn't think America first was good policy. It's that they didn't think it was possible. The swamp was too swampy. D.C. had too many special interests, too many lobbyists. The game was just too nasty. It was too dirty. The deep state had been rigging the game the entire time. And for much of his first term, Trump continued talking a good game on America first. He picked up a few victories here and there. And there were flashes of the swamp coming through his policies from time to time, but it was easy to give him a pass because he was an outsider. And if even the great Donald J. Trump was able to be tricked by the swamp, well, that proved just how awful the swamp really is. So we gave him a pass. It had never been tried. He had bad people around him. I mean, we made every excuse in the books. And then he got duped into shutting down the entire free world during the COVID crisis. It seems like a lifetime ago. It really wasn't. And his golden touch turned to rust. And for all the shortcomings of his first administration, the economy was absolutely smoking towards the end of his first term. And then he made the call to shut it down. He stopped it dead in its tracks. And he can blame others all he wants, and you guys can blame others on his behalf, but he made the call. And then he lost his election. And historians can debate whether it was stolen or whether mail-in ballots and ballot drop boxes so heavily favored Democrats no Republican could ever win under the circumstances. But either way, he was out of power the next 4 years. And for people on our side of the aisle, those 4 years were brutal. For Donald Trump, they were brutal. Lawsuits, criminal charges, judgments. And then it culminated with an attempt on his life that came really within millimeters of ending it. And he won. He won again in 2024. He won in part because the Democrats replaced a cooling corpse with a drunk woo girl who had never earned a single delegate in 2 primaries. She wasn't a serious candidate. And after the election, I kind of expected a rerun of early 2017. I expected the women's marches, the resistance, the persistence, the Democratic press conferences announcing America's Hitler now lived at the White House. And we got none of it. The left was pretty quiet. I remember musing aloud whether the left was so disillusioned by a second Trump victory that they couldn't manage to mount a defense against him, or whether he'd been compromised. I on this very podcast, I've since marked those private, not because I'm not proud of them, but because those early podcasts I was doing shared, or the ones I was doing at that time, shared so much about my personal life and family that as this podcast picked up steam, I went ahead and marked all those private. But I wondered aloud on this podcast, is he compromised? Why is there no defense? Why is nobody putting up a defense against Trump? It's my belief that no president, almost no congressman or senator, wins without being compromised. Trump did upset the apple cart in 2016 because no polling on earth showed him winning. Because polling only polls known voters, and Trump bought people out of the woodwork. So no polls captured those votes, and Trump went on to stun the world. In other words, he wasn't compromised because he didn't need to be compromised. They didn't bother compromising him because he couldn't win. And after he lost, the plan was to use the FBI's Russian investigation to ensure he would spend the rest of his life in prison. That was the purpose of the Russian investigation. It wasn't to keep him from winning. Everyone knew he couldn't win. It was to make sure he spent the rest of his life in prison after he lost. And then 2024 was different. At that point, they knew he could win. And I'm not sure if what happened to him in Butler, Pennsylvania was a warning shot, or whether he was supposed to leave the venue much like Charlie Kirk left Utah Valley University, with a mortal wound captured on hundreds of high-quality cameras for the world to see. But either way, whether Butler, Pennsylvania was the compromising moment, or, in other words, we can get at you anytime you want, so you better play ball, or whether he was compromised before or after Butler, Pennsylvania. But it's clear to me now, especially after this last week, that Trump 2.0 is a shell of Trump 1.0. Trump 1.0 seemed to want to do the right thing. Trump 2.0 seems like the opposite right now. I mean, Trump and MAGA world are having the worst week of their existence. They have not had a worse week since Trump rolled down the golden escalator. And if the trend continues, Trump might have to start worrying about impeachment by Republicans, not the Democrats. I'll go through a few of those stories tonight. I'll explain what's going wrong and how I think he can get the train back on track. This is the first we've seen Trump struggle in a post-Charlie world. I'm not sure there's anybody there on behalf of the people. It seems like everybody there is on behalf of the insiders. Charlie seemed to be the voice of the people inside the White House. And I've spent hours watching Rob McCoy sermons. Guys, you should feel for me. I've concluded one thing. That man is evil. There's nothing about him honest or sincere, not in his public presentation during his sermons. I don't know anything about him in his personal life. I don't know anything about him in his private life. He may be the most honest, decent neighbor, father, husband in the world. But in the pulpit, he's vile. He is vile. I've watched these sermons so you don't have to. I know, get off the cross, you need the wood. I get it. But I sacrificed for you people. I watched hours of these sermons so you don't have to. And tonight I want to play 2 or 3 clips of one sermon from June of this year. And it was hard. I did not want to go through a whole sermon. I didn't want to go through a whole bunch of them. I might sprinkle them in over the next few weeks. But I picked this one because I think it's the last sermon given before the planning to neutralize Charlie Kirk began in earnest. I'll repeat it. I think the sermon I'm going to play tonight, at least I'm going to play about 4 minutes of it, I think, over 2 clips, maybe 5. The sermon I'm going to play tonight, the clips of the sermon I'm going to play tonight, I think it was the last sermon given by Rob McCoy before the planning began in earnest to neutralize Charlie Kirk. I think the planning began within 3 days of this sermon, and I think I have a good case to prove it. In fact, I'll start there. A little background first. For background, Rob McCoy is the pastor of a church north of Los Angeles in California. Charlie Kirk lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's said to have been a member or attendee at Rob McCoy's church, but it's a 7-hour drive away. I don't know how many people are regular attendees of churches 7 hours from home, but that's the story I've heard. That's the story I've heard. Rob McCoy has a son named Michael Thomas McCoy. Michael Thomas McCoy. Might even be Thomas Michael McCoy, but I'm pretty sure it's Michael Thomas McCoy. And Michael Thomas McCoy, even as an adult, goes by Mikey for some reason. I cannot tell you why, but he goes by Mikey McCoy. More recently, he goes by the amazing Mikey McCoy, or the General. The General. Mikey's married to the former Elizabeth Kravchuk, who I think goes by Eliza. He has a daughter. Rob McCoy has a daughter named Molly. Molly is married to a guy named Micah Stevens, and that plays into this story. Rob McCoy claims Micah is a Sephardic Messianic Jew, meaning he's Jewish by birth but converted to Christianity. And Micah, who once was the church janitor, has now succeeded Rob McCoy as the lead pastor of Rob McCoy's California church. So, with that background in mind, I want to play you a few clips from, again, what I believe to be the very last sermon Rob McCoy gave before planning began in full to neutralize Charlie Kirk and remove him from TPUSA. I think we've identified it almost to the day. Almost to the day. All right, any questions? No questions? Let's continue. Ooh, if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. I got to do it this way. Hold on. I did this last time and you guys couldn't hear it if you remember. So I've got to back it up right there. And I've got to figure out how to get you on this tab. Ah, there we go. No, that's not it. Ah, perfect. Done. All right. Here we go. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Guys, it's still a new show. It's still a new show. Download what you need as they were removing these. They're removing his sermons. I have heard that. If I am them, would remove this one. I would remove this one. If I am them, I would remove this one. Actually, I'd remove them all. I would not want my church to be known as the church where these sermons were allowed to take place. I just wouldn't. All right, let me get through these with relative rapidity.
The discussion came up, and we said, yeah, we're leaving Wednesday for Israel. And he goes, oh, I'm going to Israel in November. I go, oh, well, so am I. And we looked at our times, and he goes, I've never been there before. Well, this will be my 23rd time.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear him. Yes, he's wearing a shirt with a racing stripe, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know. This is not a thing where I go to church. I go to a few different parishes. I float around, depending on what time I get up in the morning and which kid wants to go with me. I've never gone to a church where somebody's worn something like that. I mean, typically, at Catholic church, they wear vestments. I think they're required to. I have been to Protestant churches, obviously, like most people in America, many times. And I've never seen anyone dressed like that. Like a collared shirt, maybe a coat. But, T-shirt with racing stripes, that works too. Hey, let me give you a little background because I think I clipped this a little. The stripes had 5 extra horsepower. I think I clipped this just a little too late. He is bragging that the night before he was in the owner's box at the San Diego Padres game. That's kind of the background of what's happening right here. He's bragging that, hey, the night before, the reason I'm tired this morning and I'm wearing a blue T-shirt with racing stripes is I was at the San Diego Padres game in the owner's box with former players that I knew when I was growing up. And so that's what's going on in the life of Rob McCoy. In fact, at one point he brags or talks about the fact that he's 3:30 in the morning this very day, this Sunday, while he's driving to the church, writing the sermon, trying to figure out what he's going to talk about. Which, again, is a little unusual, but if you listen to the sermons, it makes perfect sense. If you listen to the sermons, it makes perfect sense because he just rambles. All right, let me go back and play that clip from the beginning now that you have that background, because what he's saying is while he was in the owner's box, he's talking to a former player, and that former player is saying he's going to Israel, and he said, hey, I'm going to Israel. We're going to be there at the same time. And the player says, hey, it's my first time. And he's like, it's my 23rd time. You little Gentile. All right, here we go.
And came up and we said, yeah, we're leaving Wednesday for Israel. And he goes, oh, I'm going to Israel in November. I go, oh, well, so am I. And we looked at our times and he goes, I've never been there before. Well, this will be my 23rd time.
Okay. Now, let me stop it again real quick. I'm not intentionally stopping it on that face. But honestly, if you're going to make that face in the pulpit, you might get frozen, This sermon took place on June 1st. That's Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be June 4th. June 4th. I know for a fact that if he went to Israel on June 4th and stayed a week, that's June 4th to 11th. Okay, June 4th to 11th. That's the date. Why is that interesting to me? You guys remember several shows ago, 8-10 shows ago, when I first started going through the Google Trend searches. I can pull it back up. I looked for it a little bit tonight, but I might have to pull it back up next show. But I went and I found all those searches, and the searches started like they were really thick and heavy in the mid-July, particularly overseas, but they actually started sprinkling in like the first week, middle of June. Like June 5th to 18th, somewhere in there. They really just started easing their way in. Really nothing before then at all. And obviously that real thick, heavy period, like July 14th to 28th, which later Ian and Candace and others said that that is right after the TPUSA event took place, the Student Action Summit, which makes sense that they would kick it up a notch at that point. So let me continue here because this is so illustrative of this man's mindset. And in my opinion, setting the stage for what is to come. Setting the stage for what is to come.
And he goes, I don't know what these places are. And he shows me the list, and it's a bunch of professional baseball players taking a Christian trip to Israel. And I'm walking them through it and everything. And I go, give me a holler when I'm there. I can help you out if you need anything. And he's like, that's so cool. And we hit it off. And just a sweet man. And we started talking about the Lord.
All right. He's going to call this guy a sweet man about 10 times. And it weirded me out. Don't call me a sweet man. Whatever you call me, Whatever you call me, do not call me a sweet man. And if you get in a pulpit and call me a sweet man, people are going to think the wrong thing. I'm not a sweet man. I'm not Mikey. Mikey's a sweet kid. Mikey's a sweet kid. He's happy. Very happy kid. Flintstone's happy.
Lord, and I thought, man, I have got the Forrest Gump anointing. I get to meet all these people, and everybody in there is in the book of Who's Who. I'm in the book of Who's He, and it's like, this is so much fun. And then...
Side note. Don't wear pants in the pulpit that show a print. Can we just agree that should just be off limits? If your pants are printing, don't wear them in the pulpit. That's all I'll say about it. I'm not going into detail. If you don't know what that means, look it up.
As we're preparing this trip, my friend Marcus McClure, who owns Sorrel and Inspired Travel with Samuel Smada, who is a Messianic Jew who lives in Israel, and Marcus has been a dear friend for years. His dad was my mentor, and Marcus has got a testimony that's just insane, and we just connect. He's one of those, he's like closer than a brother kind of guys. And when I told him, I got to go to Israel, I'm being asked to do some stuff, he goes, I'll take care of the trip.
What's he being asked to do in Israel, guys? Did you hear them drop that? I got to go to Israel, I'm being asked to do some stuff. How many people do you know that have been asked to go to Israel to do some stuff? That's all I'm going to say. I was asked to go to Israel to do some stuff. I'll play it again. Let me back up about 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Mentor, and Marcus has got a testimony that's just insane, and we just connect. He's one of those, he's like closer than a brother kind of guys. And when I told him, I got to go to Israel, I'm being asked to do some stuff, he goes,
again, he'll go through a list of things that he's asked to do here. I'm going to ask you, do you believe him? And I'll give you some facts that may weigh into your decision. That's all I'm going to say at this point. This is called the tease, ladies and gentlemen, the tease.
I'll take care of the trip. I'll arrange it. I'll connect you with some folks. We'll get you all set up. And true to his word, he does all of that. I needed to look at studios over there and some other things on request of what they're asking me to do. And he sets it all up, and Samuel's setting it up. And then I get connected with a guy named Matthew Ferracci.
Guys, this is a sermon. All he's doing is reading from his calendar. That's his sermon. He's just, so there I was. I got to go to Israel. I got to take care of some stuff. I'm going to be gone next week. And I'm with this guy named Matthew Ferracci. And, I'm being called over there to do some things. You know how big and important I am. This is the sermon. All he's doing is rehashing his calendar. But he's about to get into some very interesting facts that I'm telling you right now are not true. They are not true. They are demonstrably false. And I'll prove it right here on this program.
Who is an Orthodox Jew, and he hears I'm coming over, and he's like, hey, I want to connect you with Angel Studios. I told some of you all this, but I want to add to it. He goes, the movie, The King of Kings, that came out, well, they're doing another one called 0 AD, which is the birth of Christ. And we did promos in the previous movie that were really popular. And they want to do promos again. So they want to film it in Israel. And Matthew Ferracci, Orthodox Jew, says, I pitched you to do it.
Okay. Don't believe anything you just heard. Don't believe anything you just heard. Now, everything I'm about to tell you is just my opinion, but it's backed up by facts. He's talking about a movie called 0 AD. I had an emailer send me some dates related to 0 AD, talking about this very part of this very sermon that I originally got past me because, give it to my emailer. I never thought to stop and look up these facts. I just was going along with it. This is in June of 2025 that he's saying all this. Zero AD stopped filming in 2024. They completed the movie. It was packaged, edited. They were done. The promos were cut and finished by November of 2024. The entire film was filmed in Morocco, not Israel. Nothing was filmed in Israel. So what are you doing over there? You're not filming promo, I don't think. I mean, again, maybe there's... And the other thing, too, is Angel Studios doesn't outsource their promos. If you research it, Angel Studios says, no, we do all our stuff in-house. We do all our filming in-house. We do all our promos in-house. So I have no idea what he's doing. And I don't understand why he would be saying all this if it's not true, but I don't think it's true. I just don't. It's possible it is. It's possible people take it upon themselves to film their own promos somewhere else where the film wasn't filmed and the promos are already cut and finished. But this is June 1st and everything was done by November, the year before. But let me give you just another small sample here.
Along with an Orthodox rabbi named David Nakrutman, who all of you have met. He's spoken here. And so the two of us are going to do promos in Israel. And I'm like, hey, I'm a movie star now. This is kind of cool. And so they required I need to wear a mask. No, I'm kidding. But it's just really exciting. And then I wanted to see if I could connect with Mike Huckabee, who's now the ambassador in Israel. And as some of you know, he spoke at my 15th anniversary, and now Charlie speaking at the 25th. And Mike sent a little clip and stuff, but he's busier than a one-arm wallpaper hanger right now over in Israel. But Matthew calls me and goes, I've arranged for you and Michelle to be at the ambassador's house, his private residence, on Friday.
So he may not be meeting with Huckabee, but he is meeting at the private residence of the ambassador's house 5 days from this sermon. Why? Why? Who are you meeting? What's taking place in Israel that is so important that you have this cover story about how you're going there to film something about 0 AD? And I mean, again, you're just reading me your to-do list for the next week. You're reading me your itinerary. I gotta go to the Huckabee's house. You know, Huckabee, he's not gonna be there. He's probably playing bass guitar somewhere in Jerusalem. But hey, you know, I'm Big Cheese. I got to go to the ambassador's house. You know, what a hassle. After this, he just talks about his plans for the Passover, not Passover meal, the Shabbat meal on Friday night, where he's going to be and how long it's going to take. And I'm going to go forward just a little bit. And then this is the last clip I'm going to play here. It's not going to be nearly as long as that one was.
Giveaway stuff. And as I was contemplating as June approaches, and it's, you know, today's June 1st, I was so excited about the transfer of the leadership to this next generation. And when you're old, you hate change. Why do we have to get rid of them? And I don't like them. You're old. And I was, as I'm getting ready to transfer, I mean, this is, you know, I already said this before with Micah. I've done this twice with him. It's something I absolutely love, I've given to him. First was my daughter. It's like, oh. And now it's this fellowship. I'm not giving him, you know, like I'm dying, but it's just, you're going to be in charge of it. You're going to be, you know, caring.
All right, I played that for a couple of reasons. One is I did not know he was related to Micah Stevens. I didn't know that. I did not know Micah had married his daughter. Micah, again, the former janitor of the church, is now the lead pastor of the church. There's nothing wrong with being a janitor. Every facility needs to be clean. It's great and honorable work. That's not my point. My point is most people qualified to pastor a church of a couple thousand members don't typically start as janitor. There are some companies that do, like UPS does that. You have to kind of fill every role before you can be CEO. You got to drive cars, you got to load trucks, you got to do all that stuff. But it's obvious to me at this point that when he opens the sermon and he says that he wrote it on the way at 3:30 in the morning from San Diego to Thousand Oaks, California. I believe you, Pastor. Probably the only true thing you said the whole time. I got you. Nobody had to tell me you didn't plan this very well. All you did was open up your Google Calendar and tell us what's on the... Okay, and then Thursday I got to go to... looks like we're filming a promo for something, and then Friday I got to go to the ambassador's house. You know, Huck's not going to be there. Huckabee's not going to be there. He'll be doing some Jewish stuff around the country, and then Saturday, and then I'll be back Monday. I mean, that's all he did. That's all he did. 10 minutes of reading his calendar. Now, I started thinking when I heard that piece about Micah marrying his daughter, and then Micah, who probably didn't start out super qualified, ended up being the pastor of the church. This is kind of on brand for Rob McCoy. Kind of on brand for Rob McCoy. I mean, think about what's going on at TPUSA. He gets a gig over there at TPUSA Faith. He gets a gig over there at TPUSA Faith. Hey, Ian. Good show today. I had to cut off early, obviously, to do mine. But anyway, yeah, like, subscribe all day. But he gets a job over there at TPUSA. They open up TPUSA Faith. He starts learning the ropes. All of a sudden, Mikey's working over there as kind of a starter role. And then at 23 years old is basically running the executive staff as the chief of staff for Charlie McCoy. And then Elizabeth Kravchuk McCoy, his Soviet daughter-in-law, she gets a job over there like it's a family affair. It's truly becoming a family affair. She's director of events or something like that. And then when it's time to hand over the reins to his parish, he doesn't want to just hand it off to the most qualified person. He wants to make sure it's his son-in-law. That's a little weird to me. That's a little weird to me. If I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, that's a little weird. Okay. I don't have much more of the good pastor right now. I don't have much more of the good pastor right now. I have enough good pastor material that I am 100% convinced I'm right. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to find those old searches. I did some more of them today. The first search I could find for Rob McCoy in Jerusalem was June 18th. He was in Jerusalem from June 4th to June 11th. The Israel search. He was in Israel from June 4th to June 11th. I don't know if he was in Jerusalem. I assume he was, if he was at Huckabee's place. And then the searches start kicking up right after that. I do believe, I am pretty confident this was the last sermon given by Rob McCoy before the planning to neutralize Charlie Kirk began in full. And like a baseball swing, you're swinging until you're not. You know, the pitcher's coming and you start your swing, and then at the last second, if you don't want to swing, you check up. Every swing, you're swinging until you're not. I think that's the way assassination attempts go. You're assassinating until you're not. There was a chance, I think, at some point for Charlie Kirk to save his life, give up the Israel quest like we talked about Sunday. Give that up. I think there was a chance. Or no, that would have been, Sunday. But then he didn't. Rob McCoy in his sermon said, I talked to Charlie. He's going after Muslims. He's not going after Israel anymore. So I am going to switch gears a little bit. Let me show you this. I'll show you this one search. This is the one search I had today. I'm not sure what date ranges I ran last time, but this is the Rob McCoy in Israel search again, right there, June 18. This is when Rob McCoy was in Israel, right here, June 4 to June 11. Boom. Then there's the Rob McCoy search. He said he went to Uganda after he left Israel. I don't believe that either. I don't know why. My gut instinct is he didn't go there. May have stayed around, done a little more planning, may have gone somewhere else and done a little more planning. may have gone to Uganda, but I don't believe anything the man says. I will never believe a single thing from a man who wears racing stripes in the pulpit. I just won't. I just won't. Never will you catch me believing a single thing someone who wears that shirt in the pulpit says. Let me run through some of these real fast. Have you ever done trends for Idaho Koberger? I have not. I'm fascinated by that case. I don't know why I never did. Are you going to address the planes? Candace didn't tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Thank you, by the way, for what you're doing. Any particular part of the planes? There's a lot of planes. Someone sent me an interesting video. I've not had a chance to run it down completely. It was a plane being escorted into Boise by 2 fighter jets less than an hour after Charlie Kirk passed, and that's like a 10 or 15-minute flight from Salt Lake City. It's a very short flight from Salt Lake City or from Provo. So I don't know if that was, I mean, maybe not related, but how often do you see a plane escorted by fighter jets? Not very. Not very. So if anybody has any information on that, planes that landed, I have video of it, so I know it happened, and he scrolled up and showed me the metadata. I have video of it, but there was a plane that landed in or around Boise that was being escorted by 2 fighter jets within an hour of the Charlie Kirk shooting. It was wild. It was wild. Ian sent me here. H1-B stance loser. You're talking about Trump, not me. I got a story about that. That's actually what I'm leading with next. Thank you for your sacrifice. What did I sacrifice? Hopefully not too much. Thank you for your sacrifice. $19.99 is very generous. Blue Cheer, $49.99 is very generous. Keep it up, Baron. I appreciate your doggedness. Thank you, Blue Cheer. I appreciate your generosity. Very, 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 very much. Mikey walked away from the shooting with his back to the shooter. What else do you need to know? You're not telling me anything I haven't said on this program. He walked right into harm's way if the shooting was coming from the Losi Center. There's no doubt about that. Right into harm's way within 2 seconds. We call you Baron Tutus because you say everything twice. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. You notice how I just said everything multiple times just to prove a point? I can't tell if this monitor is skipping tonight or if the feed is skipping. If the feed's skipping, please let me know. And I can try to, not much I can do while I'm on air, but I'll think about it for next time. Alefi, $10. I just sent an email with data brokers in the subject line. Have you ever worked with them? I have. A lot. In your day job. Do you have any knowledge or thoughts about the info they can provide? Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see the cell phones that were there that day. I'm assuming somebody already has if they've identified numbers of cell phones from particular countries. The FBI CIA is incompetent. They have apparently contracted with gay pedophiles to kill Kirk on behalf of Israel. I don't know that. Maybe. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not saying you're right. McCoy is violating the office of pastor. It's gross. He's violating all of us with those jeans. That's who he's violating. I feel violated. I don't want to see all that. Original Pollywog, thank you for your generous $20. Please look into a Jubilee American style. The only true way to get our country back, our politicians are tired of being compromised. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming you mean like some kind of mass forgiveness of all sins committed by politicians. I don't know. I've got a plan. I'll talk to you a little bit about what I think should happen tonight. Candace was asking what Mikey's real name was on her show today. Please team up. You both have a gift tracking down info and reading between the lines. That's why I said the full name. Because it was in my notes, and I did hear her show tonight where she mentioned that she couldn't find his full name, or maybe I might have the wrong full name. So it wasn't just me saying, hey, Candace, this is his name. It was like, hey, this is the name in my notes. Does this match the name in your notes? Maybe she'll say on her show what name she has. I don't know. There's a lot of that in this business, I've learned. You kind of hear things. Oh, I'm going to play a clip tonight from the very first ever podcast somebody put on. And they featured this podcast on their first podcast. It was amazing. It was like Inception. How do people go to such a sermon and like it? Geez, how brainwashed one might be. Hey, I don't know. I honestly And I read somebody else's comment that Protestants, they're there for the sermon. You know, Catholics are there kind of for the Eucharist, and the sermon's sort of incidental. But if you're a Protestant and you're he goes for an hour. He went like an hour and 8 minutes that day. If you're there for an hour and 8 minutes, I mean, the sermon has to be all of it, right? How long are you there? Come at me, Israel bros. I got nothing. Hey, that's LeBaron talking, not me. I got nothing to lose. I got a lot to lose. I can buy a house. I'm not old. I got kids. He and I are not the same. Big respect for me and Carol. Thank you for your $10. Very generous. Very generous. We parachuted our way here from Ian's stream. Welcome aboard, matey. Ian, that is generous. Sorry I'm late, Baron. Loving the work you're doing, digging in these sketchy pastors. I'm going to follow you down this rabbit hole and would love to do a stream together soon to see where our reporting connects. Everyone hit the subscribe button and support this man. I agree with everything he just said. I agree with everything he said. And let's do it because I have a lot of these sermons that I've watched and I can't possibly cover it all on this program. I'm not on enough days. I'm only on 2 days a week, sometimes 3. Although I've floated the idea of going to 4. I floated the idea of going to 4 days. We'll see. We'll see. Candace said McCoy has a military background. Rob McCoy has a military background? If y'all's work connects, this would be the biggest encroachment of separation of church and state in modern day. I will say this. I do not believe there's a separation of church and state whatsoever in this country. I believe the American church, the evangelical church, has been compromised and infiltrated big time. You will know if your church has been. I'm not saying every Protestant church, and I'm not saying every evangelical church. But I'm saying his has, and there's a lot of them that do the same thing. I went down, speaking of, let me stay here for a second. I went down this rabbit hole. I went down this whole Wilkes Brothers funding churches rabbit hole and started looking at all the crazy funding of some of these churches that are super out here on this issue. Holy mackerel. Is it bad? Holy mackerel, is it bad? I think June 12, 13 was when Israel bombed Iran and Kirk went to the White House to tell Trump we didn't need another Middle East war. Well, guess who was in Israel at that time? Or right before then? I think glitchiness is YouTube's CO's was too. That could be. I didn't know hers was glitchy. Didn't seem glitchy to me. But does that mean you're seeing glitchy? I'm going to have nightmares from those genes. Same. It's coming after me. Stop. Get. Oh, sorry. Whew. I don't need to see all that. I certainly don't need to see all that at church. I just don't. Particularly for the pastor. The Sorensen Center. I meant the Losi Center. I get names confused. But I do believe the shot probably came from the Sorensen Center. There was actually an X clip that came out today of a young man who was at the event. I don't know if I have it pulled up or not. I don't remember if I sent it to myself and put it on my list or not. He was at the event, and he was kind of describing where he thought the shot was coming from, and it was right there where the Sorensen Center is. I think it makes most sense. I think it makes the most sense. You hit it in the head, but forgiveness comes once they tell all. A full pardon, but we need the who and the method of the blackmail. It would apply to family as well, because hey, you can give legal forgiveness all you want. I don't think it's the legal stuff they're scared of. I think they're scared of getting killed. That's what I would be scared of. And my family. And my little dog, too. That's what I would be scared of. To be clear, Baron Tutus, I wasn't making fun. I actually love to say things twice. Makes our ears perk up. Makes our ears perk up. Well, thank you. Just Heather, 511. Apache Joe, generous $5. Not much to say. That's okay, though. All Facts Finders, we was just sending you and Candace info on Michael Thomas McCoy when I tuned in, sent to your email. He's on government watch list. What do you mean? I'll read your email. You don't have to send any more money. I'll read your email. I'm pretty sure it's Michael Thomas McCoy. Every other name in the family is right. I don't know how many of their names are public. I probably shouldn't be outing all of them, but I know Molly's there. Molly Stevens, Rob McCoy's daughter. You know, there are subscriptions for like a couple of dollars a month. You can subscribe to things that aren't all eaten up with ads that you can get some pretty good intel from. That's all I'll say. Fran Barker, My ADHD brain loves that you repeat yourself. It's crazy anyone would be sitting there listening to this narcissistic, self-important Rob McCoy. I agree. I just noticed, I repositioned my lighting, and I just noticed that poor Rosa's covered up. Sorry, Rosa. Won't happen again. Won't happen again. Apache Joe, you're back for another twofer? When didn't you do two earlier? Anyway. All right, let me get to some of these stories. Let me close out Rob McCoy there. Why does that keep moving over there? All right. I want to take you back in time to Donald Trump circa 2015. You'll notice how young he looks. You'll notice how soft his skin looks. He hadn't gotten all beaten up by life and threats and all that yet. I want to take you back to this clip. It's just like 20 seconds long, but he's talking about H-1B visas. I'm going to play a clip of Donald Trump from 2015 talking about H-1B visas, and then I'm going to play a clip from J.D. Vance, a member of the Trump administration from this year, talking about H-1B visas, and then we'll look at what Trump has to say about H-1B visas. So let me share this, and then I will play. I apologize for those of you who are going to be shocked and frightened when I start sharing the screen and Marco Rubio is there. Please accept my sincerest apologies. But I had to cue it up here because Marco was still on the screen when they start talking.
I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman, and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it. Very importantly, the Disney workers endorsed me, as you probably read.
Okay, honestly, I don't remember why the Disney workers was a big deal, but okay, so there's Donald Trump, 2015. H-1B visas, very bad for American workers. Why? Because as you know, about 80% of H-1B visas have nothing to do with high-skill, high-tech employees. They're mostly entry-level positions. You guys know that. You instinctively know that. I could prove it. But I won't. Oh, where'd JD go? JD, I barely knew you, brother. Ah, here we go. Here is J.D. Vance this year. I need a producer. You guys need to share this far and wide so I can get a producer. So I don't have to worry about
But I make a couple of points about this. First of all, I've heard a lot of the criticisms, the fear that we're going to have a brain drain. If you go back to the 50s and 60s, the American space program, the program that was the first to put a human being on the surface of the moon, was built by American citizens, some German and Jewish scientists who had come over during World War II, but mostly by American citizens who had built an incredible space program with American talent. This idea that American citizens don't have the talent to do great things, that you have to import a foreign class of servants and professors to do these things, I just reject that. I actually think we invest in our own people, we can do a lot of good. You've heard that criticism in particular as the president has talked about cracking down on foreign student visas and their abuses, but I think that's actually an opportunity for American citizens to really flourish. And here's the second,
All right, let's just compare what they're saying. They're both saying the same thing. Trump in 2015 and J.D. Vance this year are both saying the same thing. They're both saying, hey, this is a bad deal for American workers. Now, J.D. Vance obviously thinks we went to the moon. I feel bad for him. But the point is the same. I mean, you can go back to World War II. You remember Rosie? We had like housewives. In a different era, I'm not making fun of women, but back then, I mean, women were not a huge part of the workforce. That was the whole story of Rosie the Riveter. We had people that had never actually held a big-time big boy job walk in and they were building tanks and they were building armaments and they were building refrigerators and they were building everything, bombs and missiles. And okay. J.D. Vance. Well, we had American workers, hundreds of thousands of them, and they all worked on the space program, and we went to the moon. I mean, if you believe that nonsense. But either way, they built a lot of cool stuff, even if they didn't go to the moon with it. I mostly kid. So contrast those two messages with what you're about to hear from a beat down, compromise. Only word I can think of it. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't so.
Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
So the message has gone from like America's the greatest country that ever lived and ever was to Donald Trump saying, you guys have no talent. Oh, no, I'm getting glitchy. You know what I think it is? Hold, please. I think I have one tab that's open that's running. So give me just a second to close it out. There it goes. Let's see if that clears everything up. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it may just be YouTube. Because my signal's great. My signal's great. If you didn't hear it, that was Donald Trump saying Americans are duds. That was Donald Trump saying Americans are duds. Now, this is not, and I'm not saying this to cheese on Donald Trump. He is the same man who ran in 2015. He is the same man who ran in 2015. Something has changed in him. And it's not his being. It's not his personality. It's the people around him. I'm confident. I'm convinced. I don't know if it's this Jeffrey Epstein thing. You know the day that MAGA really kind of died? You guys remember the day. It was the first day that MAGA kind of started the death process. And I'm not happy about this. But it was when the reporter asked him about the Epstein files, and he says, "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?" Yeah. The guy running a pedophile ring? Yeah, we're talking about him. Hundreds, maybe thousands of it. Yeah, we're talking about him. We sure are. That's exactly what we're talking about. I think that's the day he started to die. I think that's the day MAGA started to die. He's never recovered from that. The question is, well, let me go to the next one, because this is, I think, more evidence that MAGA is dying, or that the Donald Trump administration has just fundamentally changed. Guys, we ran a 20-year global war on terror. It started in 2001. And it didn't end until the last, say, 5 years or so with the pullout of Afghanistan. And we're still kind of over there. There's still troops in harm's way. But we lost a lot of really good men and women. Really good. Moms, dads, brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunts. We lost a lot of really good Americans. It's not a conscript army. I mean, these are people who signed up. They volunteered. And they went over there because they were told that the people, I mean, when you kill someone, you're basically saying you can't be revived. You can't be made better. I mean, that's just a fact. You are beyond fixing, so we have to kill you. That's the nature of the death penalty. That's the nature of war. And then Donald Trump, this happens. This happens yesterday. I couldn't believe it on Veterans Day of all days. Syria's Shara says Trump didn't bring up his al-Qaeda past during the White House meeting. Why was there a White House meeting with this guy? Like, you probably know somebody who died fighting this guy, or at least was wounded. You probably know somebody who died fighting this guy here on the left, al-Shara, a high leader in al-Qaeda and then ISIS. And while you veterans were struggling on Veterans Day, this guy's gallivanting in a White House. I mean, that, and then not even to bring it up. No, I didn't bring up the al-Qaeda stuff. Why? Why didn't he bring up the al-Qaeda stuff? So that's another, again, a bad day for ISIS. I mean, a bad day, for MAGA. Woo! That was a Freudian slip. Won't happen again, Donald. Promise. Bad day for MAGA. Veterans were your base, and you brought in an al-Qaeda guy. Are you still talking about al-Qaeda? Yeah, we're talking about al-Qaeda. We're talking about ISIS. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking about everybody. We're talking about everybody. All right, I want to change gears real quickly. Actually, you know what? I don't. Hang on just a second. I got to find the story. Hold, please. There it is. This is what was spinning in the background. Our FBI director it's worse than the headline. This is a full list of people being sued by Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. It's actually worse than that. And it's only 3 people. I don't know why they said full list. Why didn't they just say, here are the 3 names? It's Kyle Seraphin, former FBI agent, now popular on X. It's Sam Parker. I like base Sam Parker. Popular on X has a couple. Sam Parker for Senate or Sam for Senate, and then base Sam Parker. He's a cool guy. And then Elijah Schaefer, conservative influencer, journalist online journalist. And she's suing him each, I think, for $5 million. I could be wrong about that. Look, everything I'm about to say is allegedly. I don't want to get sued. Don't sue me, Cash. Don't sue me, Alexis. Stand down. I don't want it. But here's the important part of the story to me. I saw where one of the people, I don't remember if it was Elijah Schaefer or Kyle Seraphin, but one of them pointed out that the law firm that is suing him, the lawyer that's suing him, the address for that lawyer is the same address for Kash Patel's foundation. Is that true? Is that true? The address for the law firm representing Alexis Wilkins and suing these 3 guys, is that the same law firm? Is that the same address where Kash Patel's foundation is registered? If that's true, what foundation? I think it's called the Kash Foundation or something like that. I can look it up real fast. Kash Patel Foundation. It is called the Kash Foundation, yeah. On the web, thekashfoundation.com. I'll pull up the website. You guys are learning as I'm learning. This is the Kash Foundation. It's even got his little logo here in the middle. See that? The K with the stylized $S and then H. And I guess that's supposed to look like some sort of official seal over there. America's backbone, its defenders, its doers, its dreamers is under attack. Yes. By girlfriends of FBI directors suing. Oh, that's not what they're talking about. I apologize. America needs its heroes and a path forward. And we need broadcasters and Twitterers who are not getting sued by the FBI director's girlfriend. But I think that's the Yeah, this right here. This address right here, I'm told, is the same address that the law firm that is suing them. Watch this. Let's just do it together. Watch this. We'll Google this. Take this. We'll drop it right here and see what comes up. You guys learning with me. 717 King Street. Yep, there it is. Banal Law Group. That's it. 717 King Street, Suite 200. See how that works? Google's amazing. Now, what's going to happen? I can already tell you what's going to happen. This is amazing. 3 months from now, somebody's going to say, oh, Alexis Wilkins was in Nashville. And look, someone in Nashville at that time Googled 717 King Street, Suite 200, Alexandria, Virginia. That is such a specific address. That has to mean that she was the one searching it. No, friends, it was us. We were the ones searching it. But this is kind of low down, right? I mean, if we're being honest, isn't that kind of low down? That your law firm that is suing these people is headquartered at the same place that your foundation is headquartered? I guess not his law firm, but that's cringy, dude. That whole thing's weird. That's amateur hour. I'm sorry, Cash. You be better. Do better. You can still salvage yourself. But you've had a rough few weeks, brother. I'm telling you, it's not always worth it. It may be undefeated, but it's not always worth it. Some of you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, let me get to this podcast because this was awesome. You guys remember the photographer that we talked about? I'll show you some of his pictures real fast. His name was Charles-McClintock Wilson. He caught my eye because I thought, hey, this guy looked shady. Honestly, he looked shady. Now, I'm going to show you real quickly a guy in a bush. If you remember Candace's show tonight, she said Butch Hibbs may have been caught on video talking to a guy in a bush. Why is this picture important? This caught my eye a long time ago. Because people don't stand in bushes. I went and got overhead views. I got views from all kinds of different cameras and photos that day. This is well before Charlie Kirk arrives. This is well before Charlie Kirk arrives to the event. And that's important because you see that hat he's wearing? Nobody in the audience had that hat until Charlie Kirk showed up. That's the hat Charlie Kirk was tossing out into the crowd. Which means this guy was with TPUSA. How else would he have the hat? He's standing, I believe, in front of the exact same bush Butch Hibbs was talking to. He's standing, I think that's the bush. I'd have to go back and pull up Candace's show and find where it was. And I was prepping for my show while she was on the air and it was playing in the background. But I'm pretty sure that's the same bush. Now, other things I noticed about this picture that caught my attention before tonight. I did not know Butch Hibbs had been caught talking to a bush before tonight. But something else that caught my mind. So when I'm going through, so I'm just clicking through his photos. Charles McClintock's photos are fantastic, by the way. He's an excellent photographer. But as I was clicking through, I get to this one. I thought, why is that guy standing in a bush? And then I zoomed in. I thought, oh, he's wearing the TPUSA hat that Charlie was passing out. Then I went and found every source I could find from before the event, and there's not a single person wearing that hat who's not a TPUSA employee wearing a TPUSA shirt. They're the only ones wearing the hat, except this guy. And look what he's dressed in. He's dressed in a maroon shirt, which is a little weird, right? It's a little weird. Is this going to blow up for you guys as well? Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Let me go back to the guy real quickly. Oh, no, I've lost him. It won't take long to find. Ah, there he is. Bushman. Bushman. All right. Does this blow up for you guys? No, it doesn't. It blows up for me. It makes him larger when I hold the option button there. But yeah, he's He's got a hat on. I've got it zoomed in tighter than you have it because my little cursor doesn't work for you. He is clearly in the bushes, though. Like there are leaves in front of him and around him. He's not standing just between two bushes. He is in the bushes. As Jesse Jackson said, stay out the bushes. Stay out the bushes. So I don't know if it's connected. Now, two things. One is he could be the guy Butch Hibbs was talking to. That's option one. Where am I? Here. Option one. This guy right here could be the guy Butch Hibbs was talking to. This wasn't too terribly long after Butch Hibbs was seen talking to a bush. Option two. This guy is standing in front of the bush to make sure nobody else stands in front of the bush or looks too closely into the bush. In other words, is there something in the bush that people don't want to be seen? Is there some sort of mechanized device in the bush that people don't want to be seen? Is there a person in the bush, maybe in a ghillie suit or some sort of, but it's something. You will never convince me that this guy, before Charlie Kirk got there, and you know it's before Charlie Kirk got there because of the sequence of the photos, but even other than the sequence of the photos, there's not very many people there. They're all sitting down. The next time that there's not a lot of people there, there was a gunshot. That's why there's not a lot of people there. So and I'm telling you, before the event, before Charlie Kirk arrives and throws out the white hats, the only people you will ever find in any of these pictures in a white hat is a Turning Point USA employee. And this guy is wearing one of those maroon shirts that so many of the shady people were wearing. So, and he's standing in front, and he's standing in a damn bush. I mean, let's just be honest. Now, I'm going to play a clip of the Charles-McClintock interview on the Brandi and Billie show. Brand new podcast. Only got 70 subscribers on my screen right here. They actually did a great job. They really did a great job. I remember my first show that I ever did, not just a podcast. The first shows I did were radio. This is back in, I think the first radio show I did was like 2009 or 10. And I did some fill-in work, and I did some guest hosting, and then I did some fill-in work, and then I got my own show. And I had my own show for years. And I remember how nervous I was, even just guest hosting. And then doing fill-in work, I was terrified. These girls seem totally natural. I don't know if it's the YouTube era or what it is, but these girls seem totally natural. But I want to show this. They tracked down Charles McClintock Wilson and got him there in person. In person. It was amazing. Captivating interview. If you, and I can tell from their questions, they're on our side on this, by the way. Brandi and Billie show. Brandi and Billie show. So go over there, give them some love. Oh, look at that. I didn't even like that episode. There we go. Now I did. You always got to like it. Helps with the trending. All right. I want to play this for you. Let me set it up. The question he's answering is, hey, you have some of the best pictures taken that day. You're obviously a very talented professional photographer. Has anyone at TPUSA or at the federal government or at the state government reached out to you asking you for your pictures?
Wait, Turning Point did reach out?
Yes. She was just asking me, hey, Charles, whatever, like, were you, because I heard you were looking for, press credential, or just want to make sure that you got, I'm like.
Wait, it's a girl?
It's a girl, yeah.
She's
one of the.
Do you know her name?
I do not, I don't remember her name, though.
This is 2 a.m.
Like
Charlie's still alive?
No, Charlie's that was on September 11. If you want to be, smart about it, whatever.
Yeah.
So September 11 at 2 a.m., somebody from Charlie Kirk circle, like from his team, I think it was one of the top staff, and she was asking about. I guess he found out that I was trying to get some press credential for me to be at the event, and she's like, "Oh, you just want to make sure that you got." Want to make sure. Is that okay if I check the text?
Of course.
I know exactly what you said, though.
Of course.
So real quickly, couple things. One is I love their style. Like, these girls don't take crap off anybody. You know what I mean? Like, they're going for the jugular. Wait, what do you mean? What time did she, when was it? What time did they text? I mean, they're comfortable behind a microphone. A TPUSA employee, and I'm going to tell you a sec, he's going to give you the name. And I Googled this girl, and I found out who she is. And I think this is a tremendous story he's breaking right here. And he broke it again on the Brandi and Billie show. I'm not taking credit for this. They did a great job tracking him down, interviewing him. They did a great job interviewing him. But someone at TPUSA reached out to him at 1 or 2 in the morning Utah time after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And then I'll let him tell you the rest of the story because I think it's pretty shocking how the story ends.
Of course, that's actually better, probably.
Let me see if I have it.
Hi, Charles. My name is Aubrey Laits. Leish? CH, and I am the PR manager for TPUSA. Did you happen to go to the event at UVU today? It was mentioned to me that you wanted to come as press. And you said, hey, Aubrey, yes, I was there today. I'm so sorry about Charlie. Such an awful day. And she did not respond.
She did not respond. So that
they never responded again. Why did it mute? They never responded again. So he goes, here's how the story works. I'll condense the, I encourage you to listen to the episode. It's great. And they even expose a mistake I made. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. I've gone back and corrected the information they found that I screwed up. But that's how good they are. That's how good they are. But TPUSA, he reached out to TPUSA saying, hey, I'm a professional photographer. Charlie Kirk's a big time guy. I'd like to get in and do some professional photography. What's the process for picking up a media credential? They never got back to him. This was ahead of time, like days ahead of time. He shows up early because he hasn't heard back from them. He wanders around the place. He says he's shocked because, again, he's a professional photographer who covers big time events. He says he's shocked. Lots of crackling. Could it be wiggle related? Guys, I'm telling you, did you let... I'm so mad if that's true. Is it me popping or is it the girl's feed popping? Is it me popping or is it them popping? Because if it's me popping, I can turn me down. If it's them popping, I can't control much of it. Oh, it's me? All right, I'm trying. It's you, but we love you. I'll allow it. All right, let me just tell, I just got to tell you anyway. Don't stress the popping. Okay, I will not. Now, here's the story. So he shows up early. It can't have just gotten hot. I haven't touched it. You know what? Let me just close all this out. Okay. I don't know if it's still going. He shows up early because they never got back to him. He notices there's no security and he's freaked out by it. And so he shows up, he gets his camera out, he gets all his gear out, and he starts taking pictures, he starts getting going, everything's rocking and rolling. And he never hears from him again. He leaves. He takes off. He goes home. He gets that reach out in the middle of the night from Aubrey Laitch, Laitch, and I'll show you who she is. Aubrey Laitch reaches out to him in the middle of the night and then never reaches back out again. She is the talent booker and media relations, apparently. Oh, that's for amplifying voices. When was that? Okay, so she's with, I'll just share the screen. I don't want to have to explain all this to you. Turning Point USA, public relations manager. She's been there for 2 years and 6 months. Before that, she was the public relations specialist, then an associate producer, and she has all these other job things in the past. So this is her right here, Aubrey Leitch. She's the one that reached out to him. Why no reach out back? Like, hey, you just reached out to somebody asking if they had information or they were present for a murder. And then you never reached back out. I thought that was fascinating because prior to learning that, I had no idea what TPUSA did that night. But apparently they were up at 2 a.m. going through a list of people who requested media credentials, asking if they were present. I can't help it. You guys complained when the volume was down. Now you're complaining when the volume's up. I told you I get loud. That's why I keep it down. I'll pull it back a little bit. All right. I want to foreshadow what it is I intend to cover next week. Because I think I'm going to do it Sunday. I want to foreshadow it. And here's why. Because several of you have guessed it. Bitcoin came on the scene in 2009. Prior to that, there had been some research into digital currencies, cashless digital currencies, things like that, ways to try to figure all this stuff out. But nobody had ever really figured out how to do it on a big scale like this. This is the big super story. I'm previewing it, and I think I'm going to cover it in full Sunday. I think I have pinned down when Bitcoin was envisioned, created, and who was involved. I really do. I really think I figured it out. Now, before I do that story, I'm going to figure out the microphone issue because I don't want to pop. So this was the story I've been teasing for the last few weeks, just by way of giving you some information on this. I've been doing these Google Trend things, and I wanted to find a way that I could prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that Google Trends thing was real. And I was trying to think of something that goes back far enough that the searches would be really, really valuable. You guys can all go do your searches, but you're probably going to destroy the ability to ever replicate this if they see a zillion people doing it at once. I'm turning your cameras off, you guys, with your popping. It's your fault that it popping. Hold on, let me do this. There. Now, I don't know if it's still popping or not, but if it is, it's not a volume issue. So I wanted to find a way. Can we demonstrate beyond a shadow of doubt where Bitcoin came from? Do I know who Satoshi is? I know who was involved. I know where they were when they were developing it. And I know the names of the people who created it. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll go through it Sunday and I'll show you how I did it. It's pretty fascinating. I started with a list of a bunch of different alleged Satoshis. And I thought, well, let me just search them, see if they pop up anywhere. And I found a couple that were hitting. And I thought, where are they hitting? Because they were just hitting in the United States or wherever. So it is United States. It was not outside the United States. I'm not going to go through it all tonight, but I do want to wet your whistle because if you have people you know who are interested in this story, promote it. I'll cover it Sunday at 7:00. I'll cover it Sunday at 7:00, and I think I've got it. I think I got it down cold. There might be gaps. I mean, it may not be like you walk away and you're like, I'm 100%. It might be gaps, but I'm pretty sure I've got it, and I'm pretty sure you'll be pretty sure I got it afterwards, after you see it all as well. Let me pick back up where I was just sending you and Candace info. Oh, I already did that one. Oh, I was after Apache Joe. There we go. The McCoys are everywhere. Evil, sheep in wolves. I don't want to talk about all the McCoys. I don't know them all. I will say, and I don't want to talk about Rob in general. I will say, when he talks in the pulpit, it is shocking what comes out of his mouth. It is absolutely shocking what comes out of his mouth. Did background check. It's Michael Thomas McCoy. Sent you 4 attachments to your email. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's the information I had. That's the information I had. Not that Karen 01. Max from Gray Zone said that these suits open Cash up to discovery, where he may have to disclose his text to her. Let me. You know how hard it is to prove a negative, right? Well, if you're suing someone for defamation, you're saying something's not true. You're saying here's the lawsuit, Cash Patel. You've got 3 people you claim said you were a honeypot. You're the girlfriend, right, of Cash Patel. I'm not saying she's a honeypot. I've never said she's a honeypot. I don't have an opinion on the issue, truly. But the allegation is that these 3 people she is suing for $5 million, I think, each, saying that she believes they called her a honeypot. So in order to win your lawsuit, you have to prove what? You're not a honeypot. How do you prove that? Like, how do you prove to a preponderance of the evidence, not reasonable doubt, but to a preponderance of the evidence that you're not a honeypot? They don't have to prove you are. The burden shift doesn't work that way. So I think it opens them up to tremendous discovery. And if I was an enemy of the United States, and I'm not, but if I was an enemy of the United States, I would be contacting these 3 people. Or if I wanted to compromise the United States for any reason, I would be contacting these 3 people. I would. Notice the Masonic G in the logo of McCoy's search. I have to look it up. I've not seen such. Godspeak, Calvary Chapel. Let me look for some images. Is that Masonic? Doesn't look very Masonic to me. I'll be honest, it's just a G. You talking about that G right there? Right there? That just looks like a G. I'm a G with a slice of pie cut out of it. Someone got hungry when they were making that one. But thank you for your donation, Apache Joe. No way we went to the moon. Nixon using landline, talked to astronauts. There's a lot more reasons than that we didn't go to the moon. Cash is no longer salvageable. Epstein killed himself. Game over for Cash. Yeah, the Epstein thing did a lot of damage to the Republican administration. Period. End of story. The Epstein deal was the beginning and end, I think, of Trump 2.0. I really believe that. Poor Cash. For centuries, some thought it's worth it. Thanks, Samson. I said it's undefeated. I mean, it's undefeated. Much love. Pacing Stories Sunday. Curious if Tim Tebow has come up in your evangelical searches. Been donating months. Tim Tebow is so famous that you couldn't search his name if you had to. It's the gain. Guys, I turned the gain up because everyone was complaining that it was too quiet. I am a very loud broadcaster, meaning I project a lot inside this room. I yell, I scream, I make voices. I can't help it. That's how I have been for 15 years, however long I've been on the air. This is just who I am. I pace, I wiggle, I do this in my chair all the time. I can't help it, guys. And I get really, really loud. And so I turn the gain down so that it doesn't clip. Now you guys have forced me into higher gain and you forced me into clipping because you don't want to turn your phone up. Jimmy Dore Show for many reality rabbit holes. I like Jimmy Dore. I watch him. Kayla Marie, thank you. Very generous. Love me some Barron and Ian collaboration. All the brains come out of Tennessee. Hey, yeah, I'm looking forward to that myself. I need to talk to Ian off air and see what he wants to talk about. I don't want to show up unprepared. You know, when you're afraid you'll be unprepared, that's when you have the dreams that you're naked. I've had those dreams that I went to school naked. I can assure you I'll never do this podcast in less than decent form. There was someone on the Woodbury roof in the Adam Bartholomew footage. Adam Bartholomew. That's Life is Driving? He's the one that came on this show. Yeah, that was an interesting interview. I don't know that there was someone on the roof, maybe. It looked to me like there was someone on the roof of Sorensen and one of the other ones between the trees. Damn, I guessed wrong. Thanks for all your hard work. Hey, no problem. Most everybody guessed wrong. I think a few people guessed Bitcoin. Not many. A few people did. Nicole Josh, California money. I don't like Canada. California money. We don't spend Justin Trudeau bucks around here. $27.99. Need more Canadian money to diss. Can I tell you what happened to why I don't like Canada? It's a simple story. I'm going to leave this up so you see. I went to Canada. I went through Canada. And Canada stole $16 from me. And I'm pissed. And I vowed right then and there I would never forgive them, and I haven't. And I don't just hold it against the Canadian government. I hold it against every single Canadian, like Justin Bieber, dead to me. Steve Nash, dead to me. Wayne Gretzky, dead to me. Here's what happened. We were coming back from Alaska. Had to stop in Vancouver. Actually, we flew out of Vancouver, bust into Vancouver from Alaska, and flew out of there. You put your luggage on the rack, and they load it on the plane. And so you no longer have your luggage. It's going to where your destination is. Whether you go or not, your luggage is going. After all that, you walk up to a window. They're like, $8 airport beautification fee, please. I'm like, well, I don't have $8. Like, well, you can't get on your plane. Like, well, but my luggage just went on the plane. And she said, there's an ATM machine over there. I said, I don't have an ATM card. We take cash. I don't have cash. We take checks. Yeah, my checkbook just got checked on the plane. I gave her the $16. It was for my wife and me. I gave her the $16. But I gave her a piece of my mind. I was 21 years old. That was 24 plus years ago. And I vowed then and there I would never forgive those syrup drinkers, those moose jockeys. I will never forgive them with their blue label beer. No. I hope Niagara Falls dries up, you Canucks. I hope you never win another Stanley Cup. But I love you, Nicole. Thank you for your $27.99 in Canadian money. I hold it against everyone but you. Not you, Nicole. Not you. Book Bitcoin and Nash Equilibrium or Trojan Horse for Fink. Review Wim, Robert, Breedlove. May I make a suggestion to the commenters? You're more than welcome to use complete sentences like verbs, subjects, prepositions, adjectives. And you're allowed to put them all in the right order. The burden of communication is on the communicator. You don't believe me? How am I supposed to know what or Trojan horse for Fink means? Get in first thing I have ever got right. Stephen Godwin. Pound money. Pound money. Erica wears a nice, humble little G ring. She's got a kid that starts with a G. I mean, lots of women wear their kids' initials in jewelry. I am not on the Erica Kirk train. I'm not on the Erica Kirk train. I know a lot of you guys are on the Erica Kirk train. I know a lot of you guys are going after her. And one day, maybe one day, I too will have to get on the Erica Kirk train because the evidence will become so overwhelming. But I've seen none. I've just seen a woman who struggles to know how to grieve publicly. I saw something too on the other roof, but I think it's Tyler on the Losi Center if the roof shows from there. You really think Tyler was on the Losi Center roof and took the shot? Like, you're the first person I've ever encountered that thinks that. Do you really think that? I'm in awe. Oh, it's Euro money. That's why. That's why. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Your continent was devastated twice in the 20th century. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. See, Americans are great by stock and trade. Here's what I mean by that. If you have family in America that dates back prior to 1900, if you have family in America that dates back prior to 1800, 1900, your family got in a boat that might sink. They floated over here over the course of months, knowing that when they got here, particularly the early people, the 1500s, 1600s, early 1700s, when they got here, there was nothing for you. There was no social safety net. There was no healthcare system. There was no education system. There was no police. There were Indians that might or might not be friendly depending on which area of the country you lit. You were the best of the best. You looked at the safety and security of Europe and said, there's a better way. I'm going to go make my own life. And you floated over here. The first group that came to the United States, I think it was 250 people. 50 were alive the next year. 50. 80% fatality rate. And people kept coming. People still kept coming. Because they believed in themselves. And more importantly, they knew if they made it, it meant they were the best of the best, not in America, but on earth. There was nothing here. Like, you showed up, you had to cut down trees, find a place to grow some veggies, hone your hunting skills so you could take down a deer or an elk or something, or some kind of animal, squirrel. You had to learn how to fit into a society that didn't speak your language, that was hostile to you, that thought you were taking their land when you showed up. I mean, you were the best of the best. The people who were too scared to come over here, those were the Europeans. I don't want to go over there to America. And everything I said just applies to the white people. Think of the black people. Literally ripped from their homes. Ripped from their homes. Thrown on a boat with an extremely high death rate. In the worst conditions imaginable, brought over here and then sold to someone who might or might not treat you well and may beat you, perhaps to death. Your kids are ripped away from you. I mean, to be an American prior to the welfare state, it meant something. It meant something. It meant something globally. You were somebody if you were American. Now we'll let anybody in. Put you up in a luxury hotel, give you a cell phone, make sure you got food stamps. It's different. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. Baron, because of you, they are Google searching me and my family from Tel Aviv. We still love you and continue to wiggle. I apologize. It won't happen again. There was someone running. That's why the blank on Tyler. Oh, yeah, there was somebody on the roof. I just don't know if it was Tyler. I didn't think about this. We have a G4 or a G5 storm coming in tonight. That's probably the problem, especially if Candace was also, look, she's got the #1 podcast in the world. If hers is glitching out, it's a systemic problem. It's not her equipment. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, Communications 101, the meaning of the message is what is received, and ensuring that it's clear only the sender of the message can control. Thank you, Dave, for backing me up. I will not put up any of the rest of it. Now, so Sunday, I'm covering the Bitcoin story. I'm also continuing to go through the Rob McCoy sermons because I feel like it's just a confession. That's all he's doing. I really feel like he's just giving a long-winded confession. Every Sunday. I will continue to read through your emails and continue sending them to me. I will say this. If you're just sending me a clip of somebody else's take, I don't watch those. I don't have time to. I get thousands of these, and I do not have time to. You should check out this guy's take. You should check out this guy's take. But if you have something like, hey, I saw this, and here's what it means, that's something I can take action on. That's something I can take action on. So that'll help you kind of help me. And the more you help me, the more I can help you. So I'll reach out to Ian. We will get a collab going. We'll get one going. I also want to collab at some point with Brandi and Brandi and Billie. I loved their show. I thought it was great. Let me show you something here real quick before I do it. Because I know you guys, I just sent you over there, and you guys are going to say, "You an idiot. You're such a moron." Because they did catch me in something. Not something dishonest, some honest mistake. So let me run something for you real quick, just so you guys know I'm not a moron. Let me pull this up and run it real quick. This will show you what I have going on here. All right. So I noticed, it's gone. No way. You are kidding me. Anyway, I showed it last night. I looked at, in short, they discovered that I spelled Charles-McClintock Wilson wrong. I did it with one C instead of two in the middle name. I reran the searches with two C's last night. And there was a search from Israel and a search from Utah. And the reason they asked him about the searches, and he says, "Hey, I do work over in Israel. Because he's a professional photographer. He's like, I sell my photos to news organizations around the world. Like if they're reporting on something in America and I was there, I sell my photos to them. Someone may have seen my name and Googled it. I can't help that. I'm willing to accept that. I think he's a good guy. He sure looked suspicious, but when you hear him talk to the girls on their podcast, Brandi and Billie, he kind of just explained, "Hey, I'm just there to take pictures. Like, yeah, I looked under the tent, but I'd been looking under the tent. You just caught 25 seconds. But I'd been looking under the tent because I was trying to figure out if there's something under there I need to take a picture of. I was scanning the crowd. I was taking pictures here and there. So I'm willing to let him slide. He seemed like a decent guy to me. And if he was involved, you got one past me, brother. You got one past me. Folks, I will be back Sunday. We will talk Bitcoin on Sunday. I have a lot to talk about. I think I make a compelling case. I probably will do, in addition to Bitcoin, a little more Rob McCoying, because there was another sermon I have to talk about, and someone made a point that they're pulling these down. So I may start downloading some of these sermons. There was another sermon late June that was shocking. And then there was one from about 7 months before. It's almost as if you can hear him struggling with Charlie Kirk. It's almost as if you can hear him struggling with it. So get outside, enjoy that G4 storm, G5 storm. If you're the northern climes around the world, you probably will be able to see the northern lights tonight. If you are, I caught a little piece of it last night. I did. Even in Nashville, I caught a little piece of it. Went out on my front porch. You have to see it through your camera. You can't really see it with your eyes. But apparently tonight may be even better than last night. Before you go, make sure you hit that like button, thumbs up, leave a comment. That helps as well. It helps on the Helps on the algorithm. And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. That subscribe and share is the best thing you can do to get the word out. If you like it, do that. If not, hide it. Don't tell anybody. I'll be back Sunday. I may be back Friday, but I'll definitely be back Sunday.